93 worldwide, WNXT, radio.com. Well, it's 8:30, and wow, what a morning it's been so far, huh?
It's flying by,
Yeah,
Steve.
it is. I think it wants to get to 2025 faster than we want it to get there.
It may be true.
I don't know. Downtown, we got a little cloudy filtered sunshine, 44 degrees, and this update brought to you by Roger Hemming, LLC. Find Roger on the west side for all your construction needs, overhead door and fencing. And once again, here's Mark Williams.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Good morning, everyone. 5 people, including 2 juveniles, face charges in relation to a shooting incident in Scioto County on Saturday, according to authorities. Deputies with the Scioto County Sheriff's Office were called to the Let Terrace housing complex on a report of shots fired just before 4 a.m. on Saturday. A man flagged the deputies down, saying a car had been following his girlfriend and her friends from a gas station, and someone in the car opened fire when he came out to confront them. Security footage showed that those claims were false. As the car in question and its windows rolled up, but 2 juveniles inside the car were fired upon by 5 people, including the man who had flagged down police. Several rounds struck the victim's car as well as nearby vehicles. In total, 5 people were arrested, those being 26-year-old Trevon Watts, who had flagged the officers down, 19-year-old Cody Milam, 18-year-old Caden Borders, all of Portsmouth, and 2 juvenile suspects. All suspects involved face numerous felony gun charges related to the incident. Watt was also charged for a warrant from Dayton. An investigation showed the suspects may have been involved in other crimes throughout the Portsmouth area. President Jimmy Carter passed away at the age of 100 yesterday, leaving a legacy of faith and philanthropy. Michael Sandlin from ONN affiliate WTOL-TV in Toledo has more.
The country is saying goodbye to former President Jimmy Carter. The nation's 39th president faced several health challenges in his later years, but pressed on with a joyful spirit. CBS has more.
Former President Jimmy Carter marked a century in 2024, celebrating his 100th birthday. His one term in office saw the highs of negotiating the Camp David Accords, bringing peace between Egypt and Israel, and the lows of the Iranian hostage crisis. After leaving office, his human rights and social welfare campaigns helped earn him the Nobel Peace Prize.
A lot happened this year for both Ohio and the nation, one being the general election in November. The election was one of the top political topics for Ohio this year, and much of the most popular political content revolved around that. One of those stories, Ohio's Republican Senator J.D. Vance becoming vice president-elect. After becoming vice president-elect, many people wondered what the process is to fill his Senate seat and who would fill it. Governor Mike DeWine will be making that choice in the weeks ahead leading up to the inauguration. There are a number of Ohio laws going into effect in the new year. ONN's Clay Gordon has more.
That includes a raise to the minimum wage, which happens because of a constitutional amendment tying wages to inflation. That will be in effect starting Wednesday, January 1st. And going into effect on February 25th, it's known as the bathroom bill. It requires people at schools and universities to only use the bathroom or locker room that aligns with their gender assigned at birth. But there are concerns over how that will be enforced. State senators we talked to said districts should enforce their anti-bullying policies to make sure students feel safe at school and are not profiled.
For WNXT News, I'm Mark Williams reporting.
Well, Mark, my first day back, I feel like, I don't know. I feel tainted because I'm only going to be here for 2 days of this week. And then all of a sudden it turns into, 2025. Now, some of the things, and for me, I don't know, dates, growing up as kids and all that, we were always taught to look into the future. And I think the standard was flying cars.
Okay.
Which we still might have over New Jersey, and they're just not admitting it yet. But you know what I have decided is the most helpful, futuristic commodity we have out there. And I think people would find it hard to disagree if you travel.
Okay.
And, I'm amazed at a lot of the things that are out there to change our lives in one way or the other, hopefully for the better. But I think that the GPS on your phone has got to be the number one addition to anybody's life. Because if you travel, like my wife and I just came back from Myrtle Beach. So we were there. And all you had to do was ask Siri, directions to wherever you're going to go. And you just leave her on and she tells you, in 2 miles you will turn left.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
In 10 miles, you will bear right on I-74. I-70, and it's just amazing. Now, can you imagine doing this, going and traveling in today's age without that? Because I go back to the days of the triptych.
Oh, yeah.
AAA, right? My mom was a fiend for it. Anytime we ever go on a vacation, she would call AAA, and she'd get the triptych, which was this little map that which was as accurate as they could make it back then.
Right.
But the number one thing my mom and dad loved to do on a vacation was argue over the triptych. My mom would tell my dad, coming down, you got 5 miles and you have to turn right. I've been down this road before. No, I go straight for 10. No, it says turn 5. No, it's straight for 10. And this all the way to the beach and back.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting in the back seat, and this was my amusement. Watch mom and dad fight over the triptych. And now, in today's society, the iPhone and GPS has taken away that need for any angst.
Bill and I talked a little bit about this on Friday, and it was something because he had forgot his cell phone,
right?
And we were talking about not having your cell phone and things like that. I guess to kind of answer your question about what we did before, it's like I guess you don't miss what you can't miss what you didn't have.
Well,
I mean, that was
the other alternative was to go to the Amoco gas station and get yourself a free map,
yes,
and then have a map. And if you've ever seen these things when you're trying unfolding a map in a car,
good seeing Tommy Boy about that.
Anyway, no. And I at least at this date, it may change if we ever do get flying cars, but for me, the GPS is number one.
Along the same line for me as the Life 360, where you can tell where, like if you got like my daughter at Athens, I can tell where she is by going on Life 360. Of course, they know where I am too. So that was
see, in the real people world, we know that as a stalker.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, thank you. This update brought to you by Roger Hemming LLC. Find Roger, and he's on the west side for all your construction, overhead door, and fencing. And we'll check in with Chuck and sports next.
Southern Ohio Overhead Doors and Fencing has all kinds of garage doors in multiple sizes and colors for commercial and residential use, and offers both sales and service. Fencing-wise, there's wood, vinyl, metal, and chain link. Southern Ohio Overhead Doors and Fencing can custom make gates and is the only company around that can install and service electrical gate openers. Southern Ohio Overhead Doors and Fencing, 22115 State Route 73 West Portsmouth at Roger Hemming Contractors LLC. Phone 740-529-0133. Guaranteed lowest prices, financing available, credit cards accepted. See store for details.
And time for sports. Yes, it's brought to you by, again, Roger Hemming, our good friend on the west side, 104, for all your construction needs. Overhead door, fencing, he's there for that. All right. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the formula myself, and it made it a little easier yesterday with the Giants beating the Colts. So
that helped. Yeah,
that helped. It helped. But, this could either be the greatest sports story of all time if they get in and do well, but it can be also the most disappointing sports story if they don't.
Yeah, well, the disappointment with the Bengals came in the first month and a half of the season.
Yeah,
they did this to themselves. It's awesome that they're finishing strong in the manner in which they are, and that Burrow is putting up the numbers he's putting up. But the first 6-7 games of the season do matter. You got to play and win those too. So it would be an incredible story if you say, but I mean, if it doesn't happen, the Bengals can only look in the mirror as far as pointing blame.
Well, theoretically, they should be 11-5.
Theoretically.
Yeah, they lost those 3 games, 2 by field goals at the wire, and I mean, just you're right. You go back and you can relive some of these games in your head.
Yeah,
but if they would happen to get in, I'm not overly optimistic. I'm happy to see that they're going in the right direction. But then, if they would take off, and I've always said this, the hottest team when you get into the playoffs is probably the one that's going to go the furthest. And they would maybe get to the Super Bowl and win it. I think that would be one of the greatest sports stories of all time, especially the way that Joe Burrow's playing.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, Steve.
And you know, I know Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson get a lot of headlines, but when it comes to what Joe has done, and he's not responsible really for the 3 losses that came. I'm not pointing fingers, Evan McPherson, but no, I mean he's been consistent, and as he said, this is the best year he's ever played in the NFL
by far.
And I just hope that after it's all over with, we can find some peace with Higgins and Chase and keep them. And I don't know. I have my dreams, you know.
The same as I. If the Bengals do get in, I don't think that anybody's going to want to play them. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell us what's going on. Here's Chuck.
Well, the Bengals handled their business this past weekend. On Saturday, Cincinnati hosted the Denver Broncos in the final regular season home game for Cincy. The Bengals won 30-24 in overtime. That's now 4 straight wins for the Bengals. Joe Burrow, despite getting sacked 7 times, completed 39 of 49 passes for 412 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. T. Higgins had 11 receptions for 131 yards and 3 TDs, and Jamar Chase had 9 catches for 102 yards. Cincinnati's final regular season game will be this coming Saturday night at Pittsburgh. That'll be an 8 o'clock kickoff. Here are the 3 things that must occur in order for the Bengals to get into the playoffs. First and foremost, they have to beat Pittsburgh. Secondly, the Chiefs must defeat the Broncos. And thirdly, the Jets have to knock off the Dolphins. In the NFL yesterday, it was the Dolphins defeating the Browns 20-3. Cleveland will visit Baltimore this coming Saturday at 4:30. Tonight's Monday Nighter will pit the Lions against the 49ers. Yesterday in men's college basketball, Ohio State defeated Indiana State 103-83. Bruce Thornton led the Buckeyes with 33 points as OSU upped its record to 9-4. Be sure and tune in to the Coach Jake Diebler Show this afternoon at 1 o'clock on AM 1260 and 95.7 FM. Tonight in the NBA, the Cavs will visit the Warriors at 10. The Total Media Group of Portsmouth will present a pair of boys high school varsity basketball games tonight. On Mix 99.3, you'll hear Wheelersburg at Portsmouth, and on 107.5 The Breeze, you'll be able to tune in as Valley entertains Adena. Coverage at both game sites will begin at approximately 6:50. Your Portsmouth Insurance Sports Time is 8:42. Portsmouth Insurance is a TAH benefits partner. Call Gary Duzan for all of your employee benefit needs. And that is a look at sports.
All right. Thank you, Chuck. And this update brought to you by your friend Roger Hemming, LLC. You can do it all right there on the west side of 104. And we'll check traffic weather together one more time next.
Southern Ohio Overhead Doors and Fencing has all kinds of garage doors in multiple sizes and colors for commercial and residential use, and offers both sales and service. Fencing-wise, there's wood, vinyl, metal, and chain link. Southern Ohio Overhead Doors and Fencing can custom make gates and is the only company around that can install and service electrical gate openers. Southern Ohio Overhead Doors and Fencing, 22115 State Route 73 West Portsmouth, at Roger Hemming Contractors, LLC. Phone 740-529-0133. Guaranteed lowest prices, financing available, credit cards accepted. See store for details.
And traffic is the service of your friends at the Scioto River, 1024 Gallia Street. The river is going to be there, and they'll have the doors open at 11 o'clock to help celebrate the new year, maybe a little early. That's okay. That's right. Legendary steaks, chicken ribs, and more. All right, not bad this morning. Got a little sunshine finally out there on the roads, and today's going to be the best day of the week. I'll just tell you that right now, but that's okay because a lot of people aren't working. That's one of the reasons traffic is kind of light this morning. But be careful, and I throw out the fact, the codicil, that there's going to be a lot of law enforcement agencies out there looking for you to do bad things, not good things like, if you're going to drive, have a designated driver, all that. But it's going to be a lot of law enforcement folks from the Highway Patrol to local police, so be careful over this weekend this new year, and be safe. So if you see something we need to know about, give us a call at 354-1993. Traffic and service of your friends at the Scioto River, open 7 days a week.
Weather is service of the Scioto County Career Technical Center, where you can begin your career as a certified pharmacy technician. Financial aid is available for those who qualify. For more information, call 740-259-5526 or visit sciototech.org.
Your WSAZ First Alert forecast. Mostly cloudy today, temperatures in the middle and upper 50s. Overnight tonight, showers move in after midnight, lows dropping into the low 40s. I'm WSAZ News Channel 3 meteorologist Nicholas Snyder on the Ohio Valley's hit music channel, Mix 99.3.
And with some